Great morning, great morning, great morning. I am Nicole D. Jones, and I'm just happy and grateful for another day. I'm happy and grateful for life. I'm happy and grateful to be able to take a moment to look at Nicole D. Jones, to take a moment to see that I am human, to take a moment to understand that it's Manifest Monday. So, in any place, in any area that I may feel heavy, any place or any area that I may be attacked, today is my day. Today is my day to encourage myself. Today is my day to speak affirmations. Today is your day because we made it Manifest Monday. So I'm just happy and grateful that I am relevant. I'm happy and grateful that I'm needed. I'm happy and grateful that I have another opportunity because someone didn't wake up today. And if anyone is in a space or in a place, because I'm very transparent, I'm not going to be one to act like life doesn't happen. Life happens to us all. But again, when we can get to a point where we come together, even if it's, just the Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, it's coming together, it's being able to hold each other accountable. It's a place where, hey, I'm human, okay? Things happen. But when you have accountability, you can come and you can get fuel from one another. You can come and you can get refreshed from one another. So this morning, I am just happy and grateful for you. I'm happy and grateful for health, for prosperity for us all. Because one thing I firmly believe, no matter how my flesh feels, no matter how you feel, no matter how hard things may get around you, know that you are healthy, you're wealthy, you're prosperous. And everything that your hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest and grow. So if you're not in that space, be okay to pull back and take your time. Be okay to just step back and examine yourself. Because one thing that I'm learning, that's, it gets uncomfortable. But one thing that I'm learning, if God gave me the vision for meal plan, for mindset, education, accountability, and lifestyle, then I have to be first partaker. And it don't feel good all the time. It doesn't feel good. But one thing I stand and flat foot on is everything that God showed me. I don't come on here and say things just to want to make you feel good. I say these things because by faith I believe them. And I'm beginning to understand that when we can get it, when we continuously repeat these things to ourselves, and then we are our own attack, we are our own enemy. Because I told y'all before, it's the inner me that's my enemy. Okay, we are our biggest attack. We could be our biggest cheerleader. That has to be learned. But naturally, we can be our biggest attack. So even with the meal plan, what I'm learning is you got to go through those times. You got to go through those valleys, and you got to go through those things to know that you're warriors, to know that you're victorious, to know that you are the head and not the tail. And it don't feel good. But it's Manifest Monday, and I thank you because even with the accountability of coming together, whatever I was feeling, I feel it shaking off. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So of course, we know that it's Financial Literacy Month, and I was kind of, we've talked about mindset, and just know that in anything that you do and anything in our day-to-day walk, mindset is always, we are always dealing with that. We understand that our mind is the Garden of Eden, and we are striving daily to get back to that place in the garden before the apple was bit, before sin came in. So everything that we do, it is to get back to originally who we are. So it's Financial Literacy Month. And like I said, we talked about mindset with money. We talked about budget, how it is a blessed word, not a bad word. I gave you my rules of what I feel money is. And this week, I think I'm going to do it for the week. I want us to talk about credit. Okay. Now, understand that everyone has a credit score, needs a credit score, but at the end of it, you should want a credit score, okay? And I'm gonna tell you why. And of course, I have my notes and I don't know where they are. So if I'm all over the place, forgive me. I'll clean it up tomorrow because I can't find a note. So I'm just gonna go off what I know. But you gotta, one thing I wanna tell you first is the whole purpose of a credit score is basically it's supposed to show a lender your habit with money, all right? So I'm not minimizing a credit score because we need it. You need it. Okay, credit is. I'd rather have a good credit score than $1 million cash. Okay, I want both. I'm going to have both. But I'm saying if I had to pick one right now, I'll pick the credit score, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you have a good credit score, you can go and you can then get someone else's money to invest and build for yourself. Okay? So, but I want you to understand that the credit score that you're given, it goes from 350. It actually can go up to about 900, but it's just, I don't know anyone who has a 900 score, but the scales, because it's all an algorithm, but it actually goes from 350 to about 900. But for the sake of the world, we'll say 850. Okay, so there's a 500-point range. And so with that score, of course, the higher your number is, the more a lender will look at you, because it's supposed to say you're good with your money, you're better with your money. But if you are sitting at a score in the 400s or the low 500s, and because of that, you feel like I can't get anything, I can't do anything, I want to kill that cow right now. Okay. Do you want to stay there? No. But what I'm saying is, just like money, and y'all know I got a different way, everything is perspective. Money serves me, it doesn't master me. My credit score serves me, it doesn't master me. And if it's a reflection of how I am with my money, sometimes life happens. And when life happens, it affects my score. Okay? Everybody's score is not accurate in their true behavior of money. So I want you to understand that, okay? If your score is low, I want you to be encouraged today, because one good thing, just like it's low, just like things happen to make it low, there are things you can do to raise it up. So you don't have to sit there. You don't have to stay there, all right? There are different things that you can do. But ultimately, the reason I talk about the mindset, the reason I talk about budgeting is you need those key components in order for you to be able to raise your score and keep it, okay? You have to raise your score, but you educate yourself, you get the knowledge so that you're able to keep it there. But there are ways that you can actually increase your score within 90 days, okay? But my thing is, I'm very big on, because I can help someone raise their score, but I'm very big on education. Because with credit, when you get to a point where your credit is actually going up and your credit is actually getting good, you want to maintain it. Okay? We got to get out of this whole perception and perspective of, well, I want to buy a house, so let me work on my credit. Let me go pay Ray Ray to clear my credit and put some accounts on my credit so that my score go up so I can get this house. No, you don't want that. All right? You want to begin to look at your credit score as a reflection of you and a badge of honor. Okay? So yes, if you're trying to do something, you get help, you get assistance, but you can fix and clean your credit score up yourself. And even when I was doing credit restoration, I would actually let clients go, because it's never about the money for me, but I would let them go when I realized their mentality wasn't changing. Okay? Because with credit, when I was doing that, I didn't want repeat offenders. I didn't want repeat offenders. I wanted you to be able to learn how to do it so that you could maintain it and it just be something that carries you because it's needed. All right. Your credit is needed. So, and again, this week, I think even Wednesday, I'll go more into it. But I just want you to understand you're graded by a FICO score. And I want you to know that that FICO score, because it's an example of your habits and behavior with money, as your habits and behavior get better, your score should get better. Okay. But there are key things that you need to know because 65% of your credit score is based on-time payments and debt to ratio. All right. The biggest thing is you want to make sure when you're dealing with credit that with credit cards, with lines of credit, with revolving credit, you want to make sure that you keep your balance at 30% or lower. 10% is the target. Okay. So if you got a credit card with $1,000 limit, your goal is to never go over $100. Okay. You're like, well, Nicole, I need it. I need to use it. Okay. I'm not saying you don't, but if we're fixing credit, because you got to understand when you get around 5-something, low fives, you're going to start getting all these pre-approvals. These things are going to start coming to you and, hey, you're pre-approved for this and you're pre-approved for that. But these are second-hand credit lines, second or third, okay? Fingerhead and places like that are actually third line. But when you start getting stuff from like First Progressive, Credit One, places like that, they see that you're scoring. They see that you're doing something. They want to give you this pre-approved $300 credit limit because they know that you're going to max it out. Okay. When you get those responses, you should grab 1 or 2 of them strictly with the intent to buy a tank of gas and leave it sit. Why am I saying that? Because even if you had a $300 credit limit, because the limits is not what makes your score go up. It's the activity on the limit. You don't need a $10,000 card to fix your credit score, okay? $300, don't go over $60. So you literally, if they do a little $39.99 annual monthly fee, that's the first thing they're gonna charge you. You grab the card, get a tank of gas, put it in your drawer, pay the minimum for 3 months. What is that gonna do? It's gonna jump your score in 90 days. Why? Because you're doing on-time payments. So I always tell people set it up on auto draft, okay? 90 days, it's gonna up your payment. Show on-time payments, and it's gonna keep your debt to ratio low. So 65% of your score is gonna be going up every month, okay? With that, you could literally go from 500 to 640 in 90 days, all right? Now, some people like, these are tricks. They're not tricks, but what I do want you to understand is there is a method to every madness, okay? Credit, lines of credit, your credit score, all of that, there is still something. When you learn the game, you master it, okay? But I want us, because we know that we're healthy, we're wealthy, and we're prosperous, we're learning to be unapologetically us, okay? So we don't have smoke mirrors, all right? You want what you see is to be what you get. So you want your score to line up with your behavior. You don't want to just take these little things, do them, and then get what you want and go right back to the behavior, which is why I say mentality is what's most important, okay? So, but that is a way that you can increase your credit. And I'm telling you this because I don't want anyone to stay discouraged if you've had a low credit score. I tell my story all the time. I had a 451 when I had Khadijah. 20 years later, my kids are 20 years apart. To be pregnant from 20 to 40 and still be in the 400s, shame on you, Nicole. Girl, you tripping, okay? So I had to start working on my credit. The first round of disputes that I did with a credit company, my score went up over 100 points. It's like, man, I went from like a 451 to a 6 something. And I'm like, what the world? But what it did for me, it made me educate myself. Because first of all, I'm like, all right, is this a scam? Like, this cannot be real. But it wasn't, okay? So I began to educate myself. And then I just wanted to share it with others. So I do want to encourage you, if your score is low, there are ways that you can move it quickly, but you've got to have this self-discipline and the self-confidence to do it. All right. You've got to want to break this habit, break this chain, because we already know that dollars are becoming obsolete. We already know that as a society, we're going to digital currency. Okay. We already know these things, and credit, your score is needed, because I could have $10,000, right? I could have $10,000, $100,000. I'm gonna say $100,000. But with a good credit score, a bank will loan me $100,000. So now I got someone else's money at a low interest, and I have my money. So I can now take the bank's money and buy my land. Okay? Well, no, I wouldn't even do it that way. I'd take my cash and I'd buy my land. I'd buy land. You want to build your portfolio for yourself. I take my cash and I buy my land. Then I would use the bank and I'd build my house on the land that I own. Y'all catch that, okay? I'm going to take my cash, 60, 40,000 to buy 5 acres of land. And then I will take the bank's money at a low interest rate to build my $300,000 home. Why would I do it like that? Because I want the land. I want to build my portfolio. God forbid something happened and I got to foreclose on my house. The bank can take the house, but they can't do nothing with the house because it's on my land. So you can't put someone else in that house because it's on my land. Now, am I saying, see, this is why I don't like sharing stuff like this, because then people's minds start, see, when your mind ain't right, you start thinking like, oh, hold up, I could do this, I'm gonna go do this, and then I get this house, and I'm gonna build it the way I want it, and then I ain't gonna pay the bills. That is not what I'm telling you. I'm giving you an example of why you want a good credit score, because it gives you more options, okay? It gives you more options, because that will help me, because I have the money to pay the mortgage. So as I pay it every month, it's going to build my portfolio. It's going to build my trust for lenders to be willing to invest in me. All right. This is why I say we got to learn the game. Okay. But really, because I can't pull up my notes, sorry, I had them up and then I don't know what happened. I had them. There were 4 things I wanted to tell y'all today, and I can't. But I do know that's what I wanted to say. I want us to start shifting our perspective about credit. If your score is low, don't be discouraged, be encouraged. My sat at a 451 for decades, okay? For decades. That's how I learned how to rob Peter to pay Paul. But then I had to come to a point where I didn't want to do that anymore, because all that catches up. Smoke glasses, they catch up with you. And that's not what I want. I want stability. We want stability. We want legacy. We want to be able to leave things for our children's children. Isn't that what the book says? I told y'all everything goes back to the book, okay? Hold on. Let me see something. Yeah, I can't find it. I'll tell you. But I know that, you want to do that. You want to make sure that you break that mentality. Be encouraged. To be honest with you, I think that if you're like between 450 to maybe 600, I think that's like a sweet spot. See, everyone, the world, the banks, they all look at like that's a bad spot. Man, that is like the best place to be to build your credit, because we're going to go over the circle of what builds your score, because there are components that create your credit score every month. But 65% of it is your behavior with a revolving credit score, a card. So 60% of that, 65 actually, 65% of that is how you pay and how you spend. So even in that spot, even where You know, a lot of people feel like that's the worst place. I feel like it's the best place for rebuilding. Okay. It's better than having no credit because you can get these, you'll get these pre-approvals. You just learn the discipline to where it builds you up. Because as your score goes up, you go from those second line of credit cards to the major lines. Okay. Your second line of credit cards, the Credit One Bank, First Progressive, to now American Express, Navy Federal, credit union cards, the Visa, the the MasterCards like that, Discover. If someone, you see now, I do this. I'm not saying it's right, but a wallet will tell you where somebody's money really at. Okay? Because someone can have a wallet with 10 credit cards, but if it's First Progressive, Credit One Bank, I can't even think of the other ones. You know, those types, it's like, okay, they got a whole bunch of lines of credit with small credit limits. And sometimes, depending on who it is and our relationship, I ask them like, hey, how you using those cards? Are you using those cards to help you, or are they hurting you? Because if they're only $300 on a card and you maxed out and you got 6 of them, you're hurting yourself. You're not helping. Okay. And then I try to tell them like, yo, cut that down. Like go down to 60 on each one. I'm telling you in 90 days, if that long, because they had so many, you could go and get a major credit card from your bank. And now they're giving you a $2,000 credit limit, $5,000 credit limit, but it gives you more and it gives you less of an interest rate on it. Okay. So again, I not only talked about one thing, it's Financial Literacy Month. We'll talk about credit all this week, but go away today just knowing that if your score is low, I know the world has made you feel like, you can't get anything. Creditors that you tried to apply to make you feel like you're less than. But I'm telling you right now, Nicole D. Jones in her crazy self is telling you, if you're in that space, you're in a good place, because there is a road of recovery. Okay. There's a road of recovery, and you have an opportunity to get up into the 700 club, because that's everyone's goal. You want to get at least to a 740. Now I think it might be 760, but you want to get up there. But even in the brackets of numbers, you don't have to have a 850 credit score to have great credit. You don't have to have that to have excellent credit. You need to have a high 7, but at that point, you'll get the same interest rates as someone with an 800. Okay. But like I said, we'll go over all that. It's Financial Literacy Month. My goal is to just educate you on things that I believe will help you financially as we're learning to be healthy, wealthy, and prosperous, because it's needed. It's necessary. Everything that reflects from us, from our behavior to our wallets, to our circle, our environment, our way of living, I believe should be on royalty status, because we're royalty. We're kings and queens, all right? We're sons and daughters of Jehovah God, the Most High God. So there's no reason why we should be living any other way, okay? But we got to be willing to go through the process. And in the processing, you have to stay willing to be you unapologetically in a posture of submission and humility. All right. This weekend, I walked in arrogance and pride. I hurt people that I love. Don't nobody want to deal with me. I don't blame you. See, I'm very transparent, but I'm so thankful and grateful that I have an opportunity to get up every day. Okay. I'm thankful and grateful for you. Even Jaden this morning is like, Mommy, don't you have a call? Don't you have a call today? But if I didn't have the call, I don't know where I'd be mentally right now. So thank you. But when you start looking at your situations, what you've done, because the credit score didn't get there by itself. You did it. It's okay. Own it. And let's take the time to look at it and just right your wrongs. I had to own this weekend. I have to take time to look at me, and then I just right my wrongs. All right. That's it. And be willing to give yourself grace. I'm learning that I have to give myself grace. Everything that I say we need to extend to each other, do y'all realize the hardest person to give it to is yourself? Yeah, that part. So give yourself grace. If you're really willing to look at your habits and behavior with money and your credit, don't beat yourself up. Before this month is over, you're going to be feeling good and you're going to be on the right track to getting it right. Okay. So it's 10:30. I am Nicole D. Jones. I want you to continue to know who you are. Know that you're healthy. Know that you're wealthy. Know that you're prosperous. Speak affirmations to yourself. Learn to become the number one cheerleader for yourself so that when someone else isn't there, you're able to encourage yourself and continue to know that everything your hands go to touch, it must, it shall, it will prosper and grow. All right? Continue to have a fantabulous day. Smooches.